Cirsium vulgare. Nickname for this plant is prickly vase. This is part 1, and in part 2 I'll be sharing a mnemonic or memory technique to help you commit to memory the most distinguishing characteristics of this plant. Be sure to watch all of part 1 so that part 2 is understandable. In the first year, it develops a rosette of leaves, or a round cluster of leaves. The leaves are from 4 to 9 inches long. They are deeply lobed. The lobes are spear-shaped. There are bristly hairs atop of each leaf and softer white hairs on the underside. At survivalplantsmemorycourse.com, follow the Cirsium vulgare link, and under methods of preparation you will read references to the mid-rib. Simplified, that is basically the leaf stalk. For future reference, this is what is called the mid-rib, without the lobes. During the second year, as the stalk develops, same thing, mid-rib would be developed. You would take a knife and basically skin or cut the lobes off, leaving the midrib to eat raw or cooked. The lobes are also edible, but it would be very labor intensive to remove each spine. It can be done, but typically the lobes are cut off and the midrib is reserved for consumption. This is another picture of a rosette. During the second year, the stem and the flowers develop. The stems are green. They become brown with age. Notice along the stem what is referred to as wings, spiked wings along the stem here. In part 2, during the mnemonic, this is referred to as a razor. Notice the leaves topped with the stiff spines, as well as each lobe. The flowers are between 1.5 to 2 inches wide. They are usually lavender. Very rarely will you find them yellow or white. There are multiple bracts which whirl, forming this seed pod that surrounds the flower. And as you see, it resembles a vase, a prickly vase, that is, with a shaving brush shaped or shaving brush like flowers. It's important to remember that, or to keep in mind this visual for the mnemonic coming up in part 2. This plant is hairy all over. This picture shows us a better picture of the stem. Here, as you can see, it's hairy, as well as all other parts of the plant. The flowers turn brown and cottony or downy like in texture. This material makes excellent tinder, which combusts with a single spark, usually from a flint. Spear-shaped lobes. The flowers can form in clusters or as a single on top of a stem. The plant grows from 2 to 5 feet tall. Branches are usually closer to the top of the plant. Prickly vase has a taproot. This is a picture showing us some flowers or seed pods in transition. It's much older. The younger flowers are best for edibility purposes or edible purposes. This is a picture of the seeds. They are approximately 5 millimeters long and have a downy pappus arising from the top here. Remember blowing the dandelion after it has aged and developed? You would blow it and the downy material floats through the air. Well, that small seed on the bottom is what this here represents. And just as the individual flowers, they are individual flowers in fact, of the dandelion represents, imagine the same substance here, very soft and white. And to the bottom, attached a small seed. In this picture, they are only 1 millimeter long, but they can be up to 5 millimeters long. A close-up of the spiked wing, multiple wings aligning the stem. The edible parts of this plant are the flower buds, the leaves, midribs, young roots, the stalks, and the seeds, essentially the whole plant. To learn how to prepare these parts, visit survivalplantsmemorycourse.com and click on the Cirsium vulgare link from the Index of Plants section or page. And under Methods of Preparation, you will find these methods of preparing these parts there. This has been part 1. Thank you for watching. Be sure to watch part 2 that features the mnemonic to help you commit to memory the most distinguishing characteristics of this plant.